In this case, in the last case, the problem that I discussed, the rate that I was getting was 10%. Now we come to the next type of problem in which you have to calculate the time when amount, principal, and rate are given to you. You need to calculate the time n. Okay, look at this problem. A sum of money 16,000 amounts to 18,522 at 5% per, in fact 10% per annum, compounded half yearly. Question is calculate the time. Okay, so clearly here it is given that the compound interest is half yearly. Okay, so what you do is you half the rate and you put all the values in the formula. For amount, I put 18,522. For principal, I put 16,000. Now for the rate, I put 5% as I have calculated here. In fact, not 5%, it's 5. Calculate 5 and I put it here. Okay, and for the time, what I have done is I have not half the time here. Okay, for some reason I have not half the time here. In fact, this should be n by 2. Okay, but anyway, we can also work here with this. For the time being, let us assume that it is n. In fact, I should have divided it by 2, but anyway, we can still work with this. 18,522, 16,000, 1 plus 5 by 100 whole to the power of n. What I do is I reduce this to its lowest form, 1 plus 1 by 20. And then I take the LCM. And then I get the reduced form of this fraction. See, is there any factor common between 21 and 20? There is no factor common between 21 and 20. That is the kind of fraction that I want when I'm calculating the time. Okay. See that I have not done anything with the power. My power remains n here. I have not done anything with the power. Okay, I'm simply working with the basis of 2. Now the idea here is to make, if I want to calculate the time, I want to make the basis same, because from your indices, you know that if a to the power of m is equal to a to the power of n, if the basis, if the, no, not this, sorry, made a mistake. You know from the laws of indices that if a to the power of n is equal to b to the power of n, that is, if the powers are same, then the bases are same. Similarly, that is a is equal to b. Similarly, if you know that the bases are same, then the powers have to be same. So here again in this case, I have the power n here and these two bases. So clearly I want to make these two bases equal. Okay, how can I make these two bases equal? Now clearly this, if you see what I have here in the denominator, I have a 20, right? Now I want to express 8,000 as a power of 20. Is it possible? Is it possible to express 8,000 as a power of 20?
Yes, sir.
Yes, it is
Yes, sir, it
possible,
is.
because we know
Yes.
that 8,000 is 20 cube. So it can be expressed
Yes,
as a
sir.
power 3. So what my guess is that if 8,000 can be expressed as a power of, if 8,000 can be expressed as a power of 20, then I'm sure that 9261 can also be expressed as a power of 3. Because the sum has been framed in such a manner that either numerator or denominator, if you can express it in a certain power, the same thing can be done with the other also. If you see a numerator can be expressed as a power of 20, then this has to be a power of 21. So I prime factorize the numerator. I prime factorize the numerator to find 3 cube into 7 cube, which is also a perfect cube, which is also a power of 3. So therefore what I get here is a power of 3, 3 into 7 divided by 20. So both the numerator and the denominator have been expressed as the power of 3. So now we see that the bases are same. 7 into 3 is 21. The bases are same. That means n must be equal to 3 years. But the problem here, what I have done is, you will make this change in your wherever you have taken the note. Here I have skipped something. That is, I should have written this as a power of to the power of n by 2, but I have taken only n. So no problem. Even if I'm getting n is equal to 2, 3 here, I can obviously later on. Therefore, the time is, since I have not divided n by 2, I will divide n by 2 here. Time is equal to n by 2, which is 3 by 2, which is 1.5 years. Is that clear?
Sir,
Yes.
in half yearly we multiply the time with 2. Then why you have
Oh, yes.
divided?
Time. I'm sorry. I've divided it by mistake. 2. 2n. So 2 into 3. Just 6 years. Okay. This should be your answer. And this should not be n by 2. This should be 2n. If you are working here with n, this should be 2n. Okay. That is what. Moving on to the next one. This is a very important formula also. This has come in your exam also. That if for different years, if the rates are different. Suppose for the suppose for I invested an amount P, and for the first year, the bank is giving me a rate of R1%, or let's say for convenience sake, let us take numbers. If I'm investing an amount of say 10,000 rupees, and for the first year, the bank is giving me a rate of 2%. For the second year, the bank is giving me a rate of 3%. For the third year, the bank is giving me a rate of 5%. Then what is clearly, I have invested the amount for how many years? 3 years. So therefore, now I'll put the formula for such a, uh, uh, such a case when rates are different for different years. I will have one component for each year. That is, I will have P A is equal to P. Let's say P is 10,000. So let me put the value of 10,000. 10,000. Okay. 1 plus first rate is what? 2%. So I'll put 2 by 100 for the first year. For the second year, 3%. So for each rate, you have a different component. You have a different 1 by r, 1 plus r by 100 multiplied with each other. For the third year, I have 1 plus 5 by 100. Now I'll proceed to calculate the rate. Suppose if you have for 5 years, say fourth year, again, if the bank is giving say rate of interest of 6%. For the fifth year, if the bank is giving a rate of say again back to lesser rate 4%, then what I'll do is I'll have again two more components, 1 plus 6 by 100 and 1 plus 4 by 100. Now I will proceed to calculate all these. Okay. So look at this example. In this example, it is said that a principal is a sum is invested uh, at different rates. First year rate is 4%, second year 5%, third year 6%. So in total, we are calculating the interest for 3 years. We are calculating the amount for 3 years. So I have three components: 1 plus R1 by 100, 1 plus R2 by 100, 1 plus R3 by 100, and I put the values for R1, R2, and R3, and then I proceed to calculate in order to get my amount after 3 years, and therefore my compound interest. Any problem with this formula?
No, sir.
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay, so now let us see this. This is your sum number 13. If you read this sum, it states then on what sum will the compound interest for 2 years at 4% be 5712? Question is, on what sum will the compound interest for 2 years at 4%? So on what sum means you have to calculate the principal. Will the compound interest for 2 years, time is 2 years, rate is at 4%, so rate is 4%, be 5712? That means the compound interest is given to you. You will have to calculate the amount invested, the sum invested. Okay. See, so compound interest is given to you here 5712. The time is given to you here 2, rate is given to you here as 4. I say let the principal be P. So therefore compound interest will be A minus P. Okay, so I have only 5 minutes. I'll discuss just one problem here and there's an announcement also. Okay, so I have uh, compound, I put this value in the compound interest formula. If I say that the principal, let the principal be P, therefore compound interest must be equal to A minus P. Why am I using this formula? Because I know that compound interest is given to me. That is why I will use this formula. Why am I using this formula? I am using this formula to calculate the value of A in terms of P. I am using this formula to to express A in terms of P. So if you see here, I have put the value of compound interest as 5712, and I'm getting a relation between A and P. So I'm getting A is equal to 5712 plus P. Okay, and what I have done is I have put it in the formula. I have put it in the formula. A I have got as 5712 plus P from CI is equal to A minus P. Now I'm putting it in the compound interest formula, in the amount formula. Why am I putting? I am putting because if I put this value in the compound interest formula, here I had two unknowns, A and P. Now since I've got a relation between A and P, if I put it here, I'll get only one unknown. See, I'm getting an unknown only in P. Okay. So now how to calculate this? 5712 plus P is equal to P 1 plus 4 by 100 whole square. Okay. So what I do is cancel this to get 5712 plus P is equal to P, take LCM, 25 plus 2. Mute your sounds, please. Some lot of background noise coming. 7P by 25. Okay.
So why you did 25 plus 2?
It's fun.
Because after cancellation, I get this as 1 plus 2 by 25. Understood? You understand or not?
No, can
So if you
No,
divide
sir.
it by
If I cancel 4 and 100, this is 1
so
by
you'll get 1 by
25. Fine,
25.
1 by
So only 1 by
Yes.
25.
So
that's
why
okay.
it will be 1 by 25?
1 by 25, yes. That's okay. So 1 by 25. So when I take the LCM, I get this as 25 plus 1. I get this as 26. 25 plus 1, I get this as 26. Okay. So I think I uh, copied it wrongly. So what I do is I take all the p's on one side, 26p by 25 minus p. That means 5712 is equal to, take the LCM, 25, 26p minus 25p, and then p by 25 is equal to 5712, and therefore p is equal to 5712 into this is a power 2 also, no, as a power 2. Okay, so this will be 26 by 25 square. So made a mistake here also. This will be P into 26 by 25 square. This will be 5712 plus P is equal to P into 26 by 25 into 26 by 25. Okay. So therefore, what happens is that if I multiply 26 and 26, there's no way I can cancel any out, so I simply multiply 676 P divided by 625. Now I take all the P's on one side. 5712 is equal to 676 P by 625 P minus P. I take the LCM. Fifty-one P by 625. So therefore 51P is, after cross multiplication, you get 5712 into 625. And therefore, my P is 5712 into 625 divided by 51. Okay. So now this 51 is divisible by 3 because the sum of the digits is divisible by 3. Even this, if you sum up the digits, it will be divisible by 3. So you can cancel with 3 to get 3137. And you can cancel this to get 1904. Now 17 will cancel with this. Now you've got to, you will get an idea because most of the time it will not come to a fraction. So 1904 has to cancel with 17. But the question is by how much? So what is the wild guess that you will take here? The wild guess that you will take here is, see, 17 into 100 is 1700, right? 17 into 100 is 1700, and 1904 is greater than 1700. That means 17 multiplied by some number greater than 100 must be equal to 1904. But what number? Now you have to see the last digit here, 17. So 17 into what will give you the last digit as 4? Can you tell me 17 into what single digit will give you the last digit as 4 of the product?
2.
2. 7 and 17 into 2 will give you 14. So the last
2.
digit will be 4. So that means you try multiplying 17 into 102. Okay, you will get something. You check whether it is equal to 1904. May not be equal to. If you don't get, then you try 17 into 112. Okay, I think 17 into 112 will work here. One, you will get 1904. So 17 will cancel with 112. Or you can divide. You know your normal division, you can divide. So 112 into 625 will give you 70,000. Okay. So I stop here for today. Okay.